Welcome to the words of the day for May 12th, day 57. Okay, we got some good words today. The first one is relevant. It's an adjective. Relevant means closely connected or appropriate to what's being done or considered. So we often use this to say that something is appropriate for the situation. So if I'm talking about words of the day, it would not be relevant for me to start telling you about video games because it's not connected or appropriate to what I'm doing, right? So now, if I decided to tell you about the thesaurus from the day in history we did and how you could find a relevant word to replace relevant with that was a synonym, that would be relevant. I used it 3 times. Okay, the next word is context, another very, very important word. This is actually, I would say this is actually one of the most important words of the day we have ever done because it's the set of facts or circumstances that surround a situation. If you don't understand the context of what's happening, then the decisions you make might be wrong because you're not looking at what's happening around it. This is super important when you read news articles or you read quotes because it's really easy to get a quote from somebody and take it out of context. Because if you don't know the situation that person said that quote in, then you can make people say some pretty bad things. I'll bet you, if you took some of my statements out of context, especially day in history ones, it would be pretty bad. So context, very, very good word to know. Apply, to make a formal application or request. If you would like to apply for a job, you're going to have to fill out an application. Apply is a pretty easy word, right? Yeah. Okay, so for today, look at this. This is the first time I've taken a drink on a video. Zoom doesn't count. Okay, so today we're going to talk about side characters. So yesterday we put the character questionnaire up, and I don't know if too many of you did anything with it, but if you're thinking about it, or if you're listening to me talk about it, you're probably thinking about it, then I'm going to count that as a win. Now, what I want you to think about today, and maybe write down a few of, are those side characters or the flat characters. Remember flat and round characters? That was a fun lesson. I should do that lesson again one of these days. Maybe I'll do it next week. But the flat characters don't change. They come into the story and then they go away. And to be honest, we don't really care much about them. They are like part of the setting in a play, right? The setting comes and it goes, but the real story is with the main characters, the antagonist and the protagonist. So what I want you to think about today are some side characters for one of your favorite characters to go see, right? So if you have a character that, let's say, what's a good main character? They're on a mission to go find a cure for a special illness, okay? And so they're traveling across the country, they're going all these places, they're following this plan that they came up with, and then they stop at a coffee shop to buy coffee. And the person at the coffee shop has like this really weird haircut, right? Half their head is kind of buzz cut, the other half is like super long and like green, and there's like streaks of yellow in it, like bright yellow, and they're wearing like really like all these old bands on their t-shirts, and they've got like tattoos, and when you pull up to the coffee shop, they just start talking in the most like educated, eloquent way possible. Oh, good morning, sir, how are you? What would you like for coffee? Like pretty much this character looks like one person but acts like somebody else. And then you can have your main character interact with them. But you know what? Even though that character I just described is kind of cool, and I might actually use them someday, once that main character, once the protagonist leaves the coffee shop, that character disappears and they do not matter anymore. It's kind of sad to say because it might be a really cool character, but that character doesn't matter because they're not part of the main storyline. What I want you guys to think of today is build a couple like unimportant events that you could put in any story. Remember, this is practice. You're not writing your Pulitzer novel right now, okay? You're practicing. So write a main character going to a coffee shop. Write a main character going to a grocery store and watching somebody drop a carton of eggs on the ground. Yeah. So think about these little situations that you could create and write these tiny little one paragraph stories. Main character comes in, sees little kid chasing their big brother through the supermarket. The mom's rolling her eyes. The kid goes around the corner, runs into an older lady that had just picked up the eggs. They smash into the eggs, go flying in the air, and slow mo the eggs hit and smash. And then your main character kind of chuckles and then goes and buys their bubble gum, something like that. Okay, words of the day, writing prompt. See you guys.